Just like in the original soundstage, the bridge was set off by itself in the corner, the far right corner.
Denied everything. Never knew.
That'll get you in the end.
Yeah, you don't want to let them. Same place it'll get.
That's my baby.
All right, this is the area.
Hey,
Right there. I'm going to lock up. No, they're drying.
And I feel compelled to tell you that it's not my captain's suit. I took mine.
In case somebody goes down, that's where we're going for around
I
now.
kept it going when they goes down.
Get everybody in there.
Now, what's really
You wanna
cool
come up
about
here?
this set is that it's
Take a
all
look.
built basically pie wedges. Why? Because you have to shoot from several different angles, right? So if I need to shoot a scene, okay, for instance, if I need to shoot a scene where a crewman is sitting here working these controls and I want the camera over there looking into my face and seeing that behind me, what do? This is here. No, this was gone. They would literally roll it right out of the way and the actor would sit here and pretend he was doing something at this console. There are scenes in the original series that they would shoot over there. That's Spock's station, as you know. There are scenes that they would shoot over there, and they wanted a shot where Kirk and Spock are standing here. Spock's standing here, looking at his viewer, and Kirk's standing beside him, and they're talking. And if you look closely, you can see the end of the set. You can literally see a plywood wall, or this. Because they moved these sections out of the way so they could set the camera shot. You would have never seen this bridge ever in a full 360. Had you gone to Desilu in the 60s, it would never be in a full 360. They had to shoot from somewhere. So when we shot, since we finished our series, they started building the rest of these sections. But when we shot here, none of this was here. It was wide open because how can you get a big wide shot of the bridge if you can't get far enough away? And when we watch this show, we remember certain images of the bridge. And a lot of them were wide shots. They follow Kirk around and they dolly in and they come back. You have to have space to do all of that. So if you close it in, there's no space. You can't get those. You can't ever get to a place where you can visually look at it the way you remember it. So we never built any of this. And somebody's going to say, well, I saw a view screen a lot of times in your show. That was CGI. We always meant to build it, but then suddenly we had to build something else, and that became the priority, and we had somebody who made a really good-looking CGI view screen, so why waste valuable time building something when you have other things to build, you know? But they have started building these other platforms. I hope they're going to put them on wheels, and that would be smart. Because you want to be able to get back and look into it and take it all in, you know? It's closed in, it always feels really small, too. Another interesting thing here, there was a specific look to the lighting of the original Star Trek, right? Most people don't know why it looked the way they looked, they just know that it had a specific look. The style of lighting is called high key. In other words, your main light to hit your actor is at a higher angle. High angle key. It creates certain shadows. You would have background light to rim them, to hair light them in the back. You might have a little fill light, but Star Trek was famous for its lighting. And one of the things that a lot of fan productions don't get right is the lighting. Because they don't know how it looks the way it looks. They'll get here and they set up lights. Well, no, you don't set up a light here. They were high key. That's what gave it that look. So one of the first things we did was we put these brackets, this grid around the top, and that's where our lights were. And then we would focus them on whatever area, you know, but that's what helped make it look like it was supposed to look. The doors don't open, they do open, but I think they're locked shut right now because we don't want anybody to go back there and get hurt or something. Sorry about the heat. I will take a minute to tell you this. When we realized, and we talked about this, didn't we, in our camp? Yeah. Remember I told you, when we realized that we only had a year left to shoot, and we tried to get as much done as possible, we realized that if we were going to get 11 episodes shot, we were going to have to shoot an episode in the middle of summer. Like now. Now guys, let me just tell you something. You can't shoot in this. You would pass out. Our crew would pass out. Our production people would pass out. It's impossible. Especially in those uniforms and under lights. You pass out and you'd be sweating constantly. Even if you didn't pass out, you would look like you're soaking wet. You can't shoot that. It would look horrible. So we spent, we spent what we needed to spend. See those? Those are air conditioning ducts. These white plastic ducts. We hired an air conditioning mobile company, and they drove about a van-sized air conditioner and parked it outside that door and ran all of these things all over the studio and pumped air in here. And it was beautiful, wasn't it? It was 105 outside and 65 degrees in here. And it was a dream. And you know what episode we shot with that in August? Episode 8 with Old Kirk. And that makeup, I mean, it would have been impossible. It would have been impossible. So it cost us $10,000 or $12,000. Worth it? Oh yeah, way worth it. So I apologize for the warmth. We shot all of our episodes between October and February. We shoot in October, September, October, November, and then January, February, maybe into March a little bit. And what's funny is during those months, we're running around here in ski parkas and then throwing them off and shooting a scene and putting coats back on because it gets really, quite chilly. But now, we're dreaming of that right now, aren't we? Any questions? Any questions at all? Yes.
I never paid attention to lighting so much, but I did notice one consistent thing. Sharp focus on men, soft focus on women.
Sure. Yeah, they use diffusion filters on the women for that purpose, for that beautifying and soft thing. And you know what? I looked for ways to use it in our episode. In all of our episodes. Anytime we had a female ingenue or whatever, I would think, maybe we should use the old, but it never worked. I mean, it just didn't work for the character. So we didn't do it. Yes?
Well, the holodeck that was in Star Trek.
Yes.
Are we going to get a chance to see that?
All CGI, my friend. That was literally all a green screen floor and green walls all around. We shot that in LA. And then a guy built the room and composited me into the room.
Okay.
What? Exactly. It's just what you might expect in a holiday. Yes.
How did it come about that y'all did this here in Kingsland?
Yeah. Good question. There's another fan production called Starship Farragut.
Familiar with that?
I've heard.
They had a small building down the highway in St. Mary's, about 7 miles right down the straight highway. They had a portion of this bridge that they had built, and then they had a small transporter room, like scaled down because it wasn't a very big building, and that was about it. And I came down and helped them shoot an episode. And what I wanted for payment was that I got to make my own little thing on their set when we finished. Yeah, I did a little cameo. Yeah, I remember that. So here's the sad thing. They were using this building, but they weren't paying any rent because the guy that owned the building, it was empty. He wasn't using it for anything, and he's like, sure, have at it. Go play Star Trek. So they built the sets they could build. It was about 2,300 square feet. It wasn't very big. And as we were finishing that episode of theirs, the owner of the building called and said, "Hey, I rented the building. You have to go." So they're like, "Oh crap, what do we do?" They were going to have to break all this down after building it and put it away. Now at that time, that station was not there. All of these view screens on the above, the light view, all different. None of the lights flash. None of that had been done yet. And they were planning to take it apart. And I said to them, "Okay, wait a minute. Let me make a proposal." That doesn't sound good. Oh, is he just one of the end caps? Okay. These end caps. I said, "Okay, I have an idea. I've always wanted to do this. I'll rent a building, a big one, somewhere nearby. You disassemble the bridge and move it there, put it back together, and then we'll come down here and we'll draw out the plans for the whole rest of the soundstage. And if you can provide local people that'll help build, actually pound and saw, and I'll come down and help, and I'll pay lumber and paint, nails. Let's build the whole thing together. And then you can shoot your stuff there, and we'll shoot our stuff there." So that's what we did. And that's why we're in Kingsland, Georgia. And I will tell you this, it's a God thing, because we could never afford to do this in a major city. This is like 9,000, and I told you we took over the other side of the building too, 18,000 square feet. And you don't want to know how little we pay per month. Could never do it anywhere else. So it worked out perfectly. You fly into Jacksonville Airport, you're here in 25 minutes. Easy to get in and out of. Plenty of great restaurants, hotels, stuff all over town, Lowe's. So you can build everything you need to build. It was perfect. And so then Farragut decided to end their series, and so I bought them out of their interest in the sets, and it became solely Star Trek Continues Stage 9 Studios. That was around episode 3 or 4. So from that point on, it was all our studio.